or agent while they're in school, so they can prosper on their marketing. Their likeness could maybe help each player, whatever team you're on. If you got an agent or whatever, you can market yourself and you can make a few dollars for money. So be it. I think that's maybe the only way maybe it can happen, or give the players some type of stipend, but different programs and different sports, make more money for the school. But I just think along with the scholarship, they should get money a month, because when you're a student athlete, you can't work. So a lot of kids that usually get scholarships are not. They're not. Their family is not well off. They don't have money like that. So it's hard to do extra things of that nature. But I do believe the athletes should get paid. But I don't have the correct solution. The committee and everybody got to sit down and come to some type of agreement that's fair for everybody.
I was talking to Olden Polynice Saturday, as a matter of fact. He referred to the NCAA as pimps. Do you see it that way?
As what?
Pimps. Like icebergs.
Yeah, I would. They got some type of it's some type of. A lot of people want to call it. I heard of another mother. One of the kids' mother call it slavery, pimping, whatever. It's like because they're making so much money, and they're not, and it's not being distributed correctly for some of these young kids that make all the money. The NCAA, and then they put all these rules in place, for the athletes where you can't do anything. You know what I mean? You can't do anything, and if you do it, you jeopardize your playing, your eligibility. You take away your scholarship, all type of things. So, in the format, yeah, I would say it's sort of like pimp and all that, in some form or fashion. But they have to do something. I don't know what, because they're gonna always come back and say, hey, you're getting a free education and room and board. But we need a little more. Right. Some of these student athletes need a little more to survive, because you can't work while you're in school and play sports. You can't do it. So you got to get some type of stipend, I believe. You got to get paid. And I think the only way they can do it is they got to try to, market themselves, as far as, give them a piece of the jerseys, all type of thing,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That makes perfect sense, because there's some athletes that are just not going to be NBA players. You may be a college superstar, but you're not going to be an NBA player. So why not capitalize off that? And let me ask you this. Olden Polynice said he would like it if, let's say, you're a Big Ten. You were at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And your freshman year, they put $100K in a trust for you. And if you each year, in accordance to how well the team does, it may increase. But at a minimum, you will walk away upon graduation at $400K, and you will get that if you graduated. How do you feel about something like that?
That may be doable. That may be doable. That sounds good. But will you have to graduate for 4 years at that school? Or maybe you could, what if you finish, did something I did? I went back to school after about 20 years or whatever. After I left college, I got my bachelor's down at St. Thomas University. Georgia Tech gave me my 50 credits, and I graduated in 2010, after leaving school. Yeah, thank you, man. I went back. So I'm not sure. They're going to put every stipulations to that, what he just said. They might say, hey, you got to graduate. You got to come graduate from Georgia Tech. And I moved down. My family lives in Florida. I couldn't come back to school and move my family to Atlanta to go back to school. So I had to, go to a school where I was able to, get to, like that. So I don't know. They should put something, maybe a trust fund in there for the kids, because, like you said, everybody is not going to be making X amount of money either. You know, the 12th guy on the bench, you know, maybe the 8th, 10th guy on the bench is not that good, but he has a scholarship. How would you do it? It depends on the percentages also. You know, you put a certain amount of percentage of in his you know, in his trust fund or whatever. You know, it's real. That get complicated. A little bit, I think. You know, because everybody is different on a college team.
Right. You know, you got Kenny Anderson, then you got the dude who sitting behind Matt Geiger. You know, so
exactly. So, Matt, you know, or just a guard that makes it. What do you give him? You can't give him $100K. Like it wouldn't be correct. So it has to be. I don't know. That this whole thing is complicated, but they definitely could come to an agreement where they get some type of money, now, other than free education and
room and board. You're right. Another thing I asked Olin, and you kind of touched on it. You said you were going through a lot, and you know, your family situation, and we both come from the hood. I'm assuming, you know, Left Rack City. I've been in New York. We both come from the hood. How do you feel? This is something that I've been wondering recently. I think like an institution as big as Georgia Tech, and most institutions have medical schools, and most medical schools have a psychiatric division. How about giving some of these young men counseling? Because, you know, the example I gave Olin was this. Me and some of my closest friends, we live down the street from Cabrini Green Project. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. This is a project from Good Times. We live down the street.
I know. Okay.
So we would literally have this conversation. You know, you have your summer job, and you feeling yourself, you got a little money in your pocket, you're like, hey, let's go down to this restaurant. We would literally say this. Hey, man, it's 6:30. Let's hurry up, get down the street, because they're going to start shooting at 7. When you're living in that type of environment, do you feel that at a minimum, some of these institutions, due to things like domestic violence and you know, PTSD, should provide some form of counseling for these young men? Because, hey, if you're not going to give me money, at least help me leave the school a better person. And your thoughts on that?
Exactly. You hit it right on the nose, man. I think it's definitely nowadays, especially now, maybe when we back with the school, older went in the 80s, early 80s. I went in the late 80s. You know, it was a little different. But now, definitely, with all this mental health and all this thing going down, definitely, I think all these athletic programs should definitely have those counselors on staff and deal with the team. You know what I mean? So it would definitely help. Like you said, basically you leaving as a better person. You know what I mean? And for everybody that know, I did my documentary, Mr. Chibbs, the Kenny Anderson story. It's on Amazon. You could go check it out, man. It's really deep. You know, I went in.
Check it out tonight.
You know, Jill Campbell, who directed it, you know, shadowed me for 4 years, 5 years, and then you could get a better idea of who Kenny Anderson really is. You know, being a child prodigy out of New York and going through, you know, all the personal things that I've been through in my life, and then all the obstacles I had to overcome, and then making it to the NBA, playing 14 years, getting X amount of money, and how I spent my money, just everything, man. Financial literacy, you know, being abused at a young age. I hit on a lot of different issues, and it need to be seen. It's getting a lot of reviews. It's been in all the film festivals, and now it's on Amazon. It's been on there for about 6-7 months now. And
what's the name of it again, so people can hear it? And I'm going to tweet about it later. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chibbs. Mr. Chibbs is my nickname. Mr. Chibbs is the Kenny Anderson story. You tweet my tweet. You can follow me on Chibbs_1 is my personal Twitter handle, and then my documentary is Mr. Chibbs Twitter handle. You can check it out, man. But that's real deep. You know, my documentary is real deep.
It sounds like
Mr. Chibbs, the Kenny Anderson story. That's what's on Amazon. That's how you can look it up. Boom. It costs like $5 to rent it, and then $12 to keep it. So it's real feasible, man. It's doing real well.
I would definitely. I'm checking it out tonight. Without a
Then you
doubt.
can go to my website. Let everybody know they can go to my website, MrChibbs.com. Just go on it. MrChibbs.com, and it tells you everything about what's going on with Mr. Chibbs, my documentary.
Okay. Man, thank you. I will definitely do that. Now, you at Georgia Tech, you get to the Final Four. You lose to Ohio State your second year. I think was that the Sweet 16?
No, I think it was the second round. Yeah,
second round. Okay, I remember you guys losing to Ohio State. Now you go on pro. You get drafted by the Nets, which is which is just basically across the river down the street from you where you live. Talk to me about the early days with the Nets because, like you said, at 15, you're on varsity. You're a child prodigy. You go down to Georgia Tech, immediately get to the Final Four. You're in the tournament back-to-back years. You're the third player picked. The Nets is the first time that you met some true adversity. Talk to me about that.
No, it was cool. I was at home. I got drafted in 1991. I was the number 2 pick. Got into some personal stuff business-wise that I didn't know. That's when I ran into the politics. I sat out at training camp. I was trying to get more money. Bill Fitch was my first coach. Draft somebody else. Willis Reed wanted to draft me, so I wound up in the middle of something. Already behind the 8 ball, didn't go to training camp, so I didn't play much my rookie year. It was a blessing in disguise. I sat back and watched, and being that I was from New York, being a star, most of the people that watched me and wrote about me and all that was writing for me while I played in the NBA, so it was interesting. I just chilled. My mentor was there. He said, yo, just relax. They invested X amount of money in you. Just work out. Just be ready when your number's called. And so it worked out for me, man. If I was somewhere else, you never know. If I was away, but I was home back in New York, the metropolitan area.
Right. So now you with the Nets. Next thing you know, Daddy Warbucks walks through the door. Talk to me about playing for Chuck Daly. It seems that everybody likes playing for Chuck.
It was like, first of all, it was like, yo, like I said, he came in. They said, hey, you got to give the ball to Kenny Anderson. We had a meeting. He was like, hey, now it's your team. Now show these people what you're capable of. Be a leader. You know what I mean? He brought it out of me, man. He brought it out of me. He was stand-up coach. I respected him. He had won Olympic. He was 2-time Detroit Pistons champion. Coached one of the greatest point guards in Isaiah Thomas. So he was fit for me, and he gave me the ball, let me do my thing, and I wound up being an all-star. Chuck, I had nothing but love for Chuck, man.
Man, I remember those days. Derek Coleman is another one of my favorite. I kind of gravitate towards left-handed players. It's more than obvious. Anybody who knows me knows. If you're left-handed, you got a shot of being one of my favorite players in the league, period. James Harden is currently my favorite player in the league. So you hit the league. Now you're an all-star. Things are coming into order. You got, Petrovic, you got Derek Coleman, you got Chris Morris. Talk to me about that year making the playoffs and how were you feeling about the NBA experience at this point?
Oh, man, I was loving it, man. We had a great team. Chris Morris, very athletic forward. Derek Coleman, driving Petrovic. Man, I just love playing with those guys. We was in just an era, Michael Jordan era. Great Chicago Bulls team, Cleveland Cavaliers, the Knicks, Orlando Magic with Shaq and Penny. The East, it was tough, man. It was great basketball back then. You had to be ready. So it was a war, night in and night out. But what more could you say, man? I was playing home and now I have my chance to play with a great team and be an all-star. I was living the life, man. I was in my prime. I enjoyed it.
Okay, now who's your favorite guy to go up against? Because, like you said, the league is loaded now, and every night you got somebody coming at the head. Who was your guy? I
didn't have no favorite. I just wanted to compete. I had no favorite. I just had to be mentally strong and mentally ready. You know what I mean? Every night, man. That was especially out west. Where they had John Stockton, Gary Payton, my man Nick Van Exel. Over with Greg Anthony and Derek Harper, Mark Price, Kevin Johnson. It was just a bunch of pretty guards. I mean, Tim Hardaway. You had to be Penny Hardaway, Tim Hardaway. You had to be mentally, physically